I wonder how people feel when they leave me, especially during times that are hard. When people are going through the difficulties of life, when they feel broken, when they feel distraught, when they feel compromised, when they're grieving, when they're hurting, when they're lonely. And we all go through those cycles and waves in life. And I wonder when they walk away from me after an encounter, after meeting me or just passing me, do they feel uplifted? Do they feel in any way encouraged? Do they feel a sense of restoration and equality? Do they feel empathy? I hope so. But I guess I don't know. Maybe I haven't thought about it enough. Maybe I haven't prayed about it enough. How do people feel when they walk away from me? As I watched the live images a couple of weeks ago of Gus Walz, the 17-year-old son of Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, and I watched the live feed of him crying, tears running down his face during his father's speech, I was surprisingly and remarkably affected by that. Because you see, I too have a neurodivergent son. My son Adam has high functioning autism spectrum disorder. And I know what that's like. I know what it's like for a young man whose brain, like every neuron, fires at the same time. I know what it's like to be overwhelmed and confused, to just be all in, to have the stimulation of the environment and the people and the experience come flooding at you all at once, so much that you can't contain it. I know what that outflow is like, and the difficulties and the social awkwardness and the challenges of managing that condition. I walked that journey with my son, and when I saw it on the face of Gus Walz, I knew exactly what was going on. I could see it. I could see it. And all those years, especially those difficult, painful teen years that are overwhelming in the first place. How many times I said to my son Adam, this is not a disability, this is a superpower. Because he has the ability to see problems and imagine solutions and recognize connections between things that elude the rest of us, because his whole brain operates all the time in response to everything. But see, there's another side of this that I recognized on the face of Gus Walz, this neurodivergent young man. I saw a profound sense of love, because when you have a heart and a mind that doesn't draw a distinction between itself and just goes all in and feels everything deeply and profoundly, you can't hold back the love. The ability that my son Adam has to love deeply and profoundly, holding nothing back, is inspiring. And as I watched that unfold, I thought to myself, in identifying with his father, what a lucky man he is to have a son who loves him that much, who just holds nothing back and lets it all pour out. But there was something else I was deeply aware of. There's a shadow side, that there are dark voices in our community who would make the next day brutal for him. Voices with access to social media streaming media, popular media, who would call him weak, who would call him pathetic, who would call him soft, and publicly scrutinize and criticize for expressing love so much. See, there are voices in our world around us who want us to believe that deep and profound, heart-moving love is a weakness, that deep compassion is a weakness, that empathy is a weakness. These are the same voices who, in a different context, would look at a man hanging on a cross and call him a loser and say, I would prefer a Messiah who is not vulnerable, a Messiah who doesn't get crucified. But that's not what love looks like. And to break oneself open and pour oneself out completely and totally in love for others is not a weakness. It is great courage. It is great bravery. And I was moved by it. And some of these same voices seem to be all about going out in the world and talking about how Christian they are. Ironic. So ironic. And it's necessary for them to go tell everyone how Christian they are, because we wouldn't see it otherwise. We wouldn't know they are Christian by their love. By their love, we wouldn't know they are Christian by their love. Our scriptures today give us 3 ways to encounter people who are different from us, people who are divergent in some way from us. In the first reading, Isaiah tells us to lift them up. When someone comes to you in their brokenness, when someone comes to you hurting, when someone comes to you feeling marginalized, ostracized, outside what we would call the norm, encourage them. Encourage them, lift them up, raise them up. That's what love does. In our second reading, James tells us, approach them and embrace them with equality. Let them know that they're not really different. We're all one. Make no distinctions between people. He echoes the words of St. Paul in his letter to the Galatians, who says, in Christ there is no Greek or Jew, no slave or free, no male or female. Just stop it. Stop all of the labels, all of the categories, all the needs to define and divide people. And recognize, Paul tells us, that there's only one Christ. And we're all equally part of it. When someone comes to us feeling broken, feeling outside, feeling diverged in some way, embrace them with equality, because that's what love does. And then, of course, in our gospel, they bring this man who is deaf and has a severe speech impediment to Christ. And Jesus takes this man and he takes him off to the side, away from the noise, away from the crowd, away from the chaos, as I did so many times with my son Adam. Reach out, touch him, pull him away from all the noise and stimulation and chaos. And Christ reaches out and he touches him. He touches him in his brokenness And that's how healing happens. That's how healing happens, with that sort of empathy, to reach out where someone is across the divide and touch them. And we call it a miracle. Rightly so, it is, we would say, a miracle. But yet I think Jesus would say to us, no, that's just how love works. That's how love works when we reach out to another person with empathy. Healing happens. When we touch them with loving compassion, healing happens. As we go about our everyday and we encounter people who are different, who are divergent in some way from what we consider our definition of normal, whatever that is. And we all will, and we all do every day, and we wouldn't want it any other way, because this infinite God comes to us with such infinite imagination, manifest in so many different faces, all created in God's own image. And when we encounter those people, we can choose to encounter them with avoidance, animosity, antagonism. Or we can choose to encounter them with encouragement, equality, and empathy, as the scriptures teach us. And may the encouragement, equality, and empathy of Christ's love rain down upon you. And may the encouragement, equality, and empathy of Christ's love stir the heart within you. And may the encouragement, equality, and empathy of Christ's love flow into the world through you.